The Osasu Show convened the third edition of its conference in Abuja, Nigeria, recently bringing together an array of seasoned, resourceful, and distinguished panelists, as well as speakers who ignited robust discussions amongst participants who came from various walks of life on the theme The 21st Century Woman and Her Role in National Development. The Nigerian woman's predicament being the focus of the symposium was addressed in details by Umi Hamzat, a woman activist in her opening remark. Speaking also at the event, an 11-year-old Zipporah Ogenege, a student at Start Right Schools Abuja, Nigeria, called on the Nigerian government to create and implement policies to better the lot of women in the country.
I'm passionate about women and girls, child. Well, as for me, I think a 21st century woman is that woman who knows how what is confident, obedient. She knows how to balance her work, her family, and her passion. I would like to tell our leaders and the political atmosphere at large that a 21st century woman is not just a girl child. She's not a wife. She's not a mother. She is a smart woman, a confident woman. She is a nation builder. She is a warrior. A 21st century woman is the nation. And I, Uyokai Hamzat, I am a 21st century.
You all will agree with the fact that women can effectively play a significant role in nation building. When she is educated, when women are educated, there is a greater chance of escaping poverty, leading healthier and more productive lives, and raising the standard of living children, families, and communities. As I round up, I would like to emphasize that more needs to be done in terms of ensuring freedom from all forms of discrimination against the girl child. Governments and societies must do the needful if true freedom is to be won. Policies have been put in place. Promises have been made. Now it is time to put the words to action and make real progress.
This symposium was attended by many dignitaries, such as the Senate President of Nigeria, Ahmed Ibrahim Lawan, who was represented by Senator Betty Apiafe, the Governor of Abia State, Okezie Ikpeazu, the Governor of Bayelsa State, Dixon Seriake, the Governor of Imo State, Emeka Ihedioha, Deputy Governor of Edo, amongst others. Representing the Senate President of Nigeria, Betty Apiafi, a senator called on women to be put in the front burner in whatever they do, professionalism, and display their competency. Getting to the top of the game, she said, has nothing to do with their physical appearances or beauty, but brains.
It is for this reason we will encourage women the same way we encourage men to be concerned with professionalism, competence, and quality. The God-given ability of a woman is immense, as reflected in the stabilization of homes. We can extend the ability to the social space. Doing this will maximize the inputs of the gender in public and private spaces to enable us to optimize efforts. In this case, we are not only emphasizing inclusion because of logic, but also on the ground of competence.
The Executive Governor of Abia State, Ikpeazu Okezie, and the Deputy Governor of Edo State, Shaibu Philip, also shared their thoughts on issues discussed and outlined steps being taken in their various states towards empowering women and providing support systems for them, especially in the areas of agriculture and education.
Without women, nobody will win an election. And it is clear. And I want women to stand up for women. And some of us who have become frontline actors in promoting women activism should go a little step further. I would like to see a woman not running for any political office, come to Abia State and talk to Abia women and say to them, you have to support one of your own. If a woman gets 40% support of the women in any state, that woman will become the governor and leader of that state. Because the men will make all the noise, but on that day, when it comes to voting, it is the women that will line up and wait and vote. And if they translate it to quantum support for one of their own, I think that there will be no stopping them.
We have discovered when you empower one woman, we do respect towards the men, when you empower a woman and the woman jealously and religiously follow what that empowerment has to do in terms of education or whatever you teach, they do it religiously because God has given them one natural gift. They have care. The number one gift God has given to them is care. And when you put the country and you put the state under their care, I can tell you, out of 10 women, 9 will do very, very well.
The FCT resident electoral commissioner of the Independent National Electoral Commission, Yahaya Bello, who was present at the event, praised the initiative of Osasu Igbinedian, the convener of the symposium, in bringing the plight of women to the fore. He therefore urged women to be proactive in ensuring their demands are met.
I wish to congratulate Ms. Osasu Igbinedian, who is also an INEC FCT ambassador, for her positive and commendable contribution towards inclusive governance and welfare of the citizens of Nigeria. The theme of this symposium, the 21st century woman and her role in nation development, is apt and timely, given the sustained advocacy for gender mainstreaming by various groups in this nation. Let me therefore use this opportunity to reiterate the Commission's commitment to gender mainstreaming in the electoral processes and the fundamental human rights of women to vote and be voted for in any election in this country. But let me emphasize that I believe that after this symposium, the role will also have special meanings, whereby women who are going to aspire for offices will not wait for slots. They will have to slug it out in order to be where they want to be.
In his keynote address at the workshop, Nigeria's former Minister of Youth and Sports, Bolaji Abdullahi, expressed his desire for a changed Nigeria where women will be treated as equals to their male counterparts.
Researchers have actually argued that there is little evidence that women in power actually serve women's interests. This is because embedded within the concept of representation is also the reality of power. And even if it was possible to see gender as a distinct homogeneous constituency, it must be acknowledged that there must be different location of power within that constituency. It would therefore be foolhardy to assume that a woman in power naturally represents women. We must therefore pursue a more nuanced definition of female political representation. The politics of gender equality is therefore not just about how men think of women, but also about how women think of themselves in relation to public and political life.
A panel of seasoned and enterprising women from across the continent, such as Ifeoma Malo, Olayinka David West, Sarah Maka, Arase Ugu, amongst others, spoke on issues of importance in line with the theme of the occasion and preferred possible solutions to their plight. On proffering solutions to the death of women in occupying leadership positions, some said,
poverty is one of those things where without creating jobs, without creating access to healthcare, without creating opportunities for work, and you look at the Nigerian National Bureau of Statistics numbers, underemployment is growing, unemployment is growing, and this is in a very vulnerable sector of our community, the youth. These are people who are the workforce that we should have, that other countries are envious of. When you look at other economies, they have aging populations. In Nigeria and Africa, we have youth populations, but we can't put these youthful populations to work. This is also bringing us at an economic disadvantage when you think about globalization. Globalization means that we can buy goods and services from anywhere. Nigeria has just signed the Africa Free Trade Continental Agreement. What does that mean? We have equal access to opportunities around Africa and the world. We live in the fourth industrial revolution. We see sciences, physical sciences, biological sciences, digital sciences coming along. Are we creating opportunities? Are we creating a workforce that can tap into that? You don't need to work in Nigeria to earn.
Taking into consideration the context of the 21st century woman and her role in nation building, we are all actually supposed to take this leadership really seriously. Because there are people who are out there who may not necessarily think that they are leaders because they don't necessarily answer the title leadership, but are doing amazing things that leaders are. People who are voicing out, like Auntie Toro, for example, like Blossom, Ifoma, the beautiful women I have sitting in the panel here with me, Arese, who are creating content to ensure that women begin to think and look at themselves differently, because they've been re-educated to begin to see leadership from another point of view. I'll mention two critical criteria that we need to begin to look at, even if we're in a society where it looks as if everything is going down, but some things are happening that are great. But we need to think about intentional leadership. We need to be deliberate about leading. We need to be deliberate about what we put out there in the media, like Blossom has said. So yes, things are happening there that are not necessarily encouraging, but there's still few people here who are ensuring that leadership is the way to go.
I work in a very male-dominated industry. I work in the electricity sector. Most of the time, I'm the only woman sitting on the table. And one of the things that we consciously do in my organization is to actually make sure that we're bringing chairs for other women to sit at the table with us. This is what we have to do deliberately in a country that hasn't taken our educational system as seriously as we should. We have to be very, very deliberate about the things we do to be inclusive. My organization, despite being an electricity-focused organization, has a 70% representation when it comes to women, and many of them are female engineers. But that has taken us wanting to go out there and find them. They don't, naturally come to us, right? Because of the way STEM or the way the industry is structured.
I think that it's important in terms of thinking about wealth that we start to understand that it's a bad thing that we go through primary school, secondary school, university, and you get your first job and people just expect you to magically know how to build wealth or keep and grow your money. We don't have any financial literacy education in primary school or secondary school or even university. And I think that's something that we need to start truly thinking about. Because in Africa, because of the rampant poverty, the focus is always on earning as opposed to keeping and growing. And what happens is that we become revolving doors, for our money.
Arase Ugu, an entrepreneur in a panel session, spoke on leveraging technology in social media and encouraged women to take advantage of the current global trend as it affects information communications technology to build and empower themselves.
I think that social media is something that, is a very powerful tool. It's democratized our access to different opportunities. But it can, like any tool, it can be used in good ways and bad ways. With Glory's story, I feel like there are a lot of holes in it. I don't know if she's a scam artist or she's not, but I think that it's important for us to realize that the way that we use social media is important. A lot of our focus these days is on the mobile phone. People don't really watch television or look at billboards anymore. Our focus is on the mobile phone. So you have, in engaging with these stories and calling people scams or frauds, we need to realize that we should be using social media in an intentional way. It can be a gift and a curse. In one day, somebody's reputation can just be destroyed, whether the story is true or not. But at the same time, as most people focus on the fact that social media has evils, I like to focus on the positive and how we can use it positive.
They founded Women FM Tong Okewale, who spoke to 84 News Crew, stressed that it is important that women equip themselves with appropriate knowledge and qualifications in building their homes and businesses, which will enable them to also help their communities.
The role of every woman is to guard Nigeria jealously, because we are all stakeholders. If you see Nigeria as the only place you have, then you will not want to treat Nigeria shabbily. And so it's important that we bring ourselves to the table. It's important that we equip ourselves with appropriate knowledge and qualifications, whether formal or informal, in wherever we want to play. It's important that we are true to ourselves. It's important that when a man is heading a position or is a leader in a particular place, as a woman, let me support him. Even if it's another woman as well, let me support her. So for me, the role of a woman is quite important, because she has to build a home, she has to build her business, and she has to build the community.
Also speaking at the event, a representative of the Association of Market Women urged the government at all levels to make women education a priority.
Please, market women, they beg government. Make una help market women put our children for school. Then, not only using us for campaign, after everything we done us. So we need government to put our children in school so that everything will go well.
The moderator of a panel emphasized that women create an enabling environment by encouraging the women that eventually rise to powerful positions.
We make sure that even if we're calling women to the table and we're putting them there, that we make sure we don't make their lives difficult when they're there. Because the issue of power continues to resonate. Just because they get there doesn't mean that we still give them power. Often they're still forced to negotiate, not on their own terms. So for me, the thing about it is, really, let's commit to creating an enabling environment that really does lead to change. Not just, surface change, but actual structural and systemic change, because that's where the magic happens.
Above all, it was generally agreed that the role of women in any nation is very critical and should never be taken for granted. For any meaningful development to take place in Nigeria, women should be given equal opportunities with their male counterparts in all spheres of life. The African woman is strong, tough, and resilient in the face of all odds.